business for this evening. Mr. Harcum, we have an agenda, so let us go through the normal process at this point in time. So, Mr. Harcum, on the agenda for this evening, or this morning.
There is no consent agenda this evening, Mr. Chair.
It's all special order.
They are all special orders at your pleasure, sir.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item number 1. Colleagues, if without objection, we'll skip to 3, if that's okay with you all. We did receive from the administration that was held over to a time certain. Item number 3, Madam Clerk.
Item 6553 from the Chairman of the Board is the appointment of Melissa Statz as the Acting Commissioner of the County Department of Community Mental Health, effective July 6, 2013.
Members, as you know, this was postponed from this morning's 10 o'clock, Monday, December 9th, 10 o'clock meeting. We did receive communication from Deputy County Executive Plunkett from August 28, 2013, that did refer to the mental hygiene law, specifically Section 41-.09, regarding identification of the county's mental health examining physicians, which are Dr. Stephen Shanemark, who's the Director of Ambulatory Services, and Dr. Dean Harlan, who is the Chief Medical Officer, both from St. Vincent's Hospital, Westchester Division of St. Joseph's Hospital. Members on this item. Madam Clerk, long roll call.
Mr. Harcum.
Yes.
Mr. Mazzano. Ms. Borgia.
Yes.
Mr. Burrows. Mr. Gelfarb. Mr. Kaplowitz.
Aye.
Ms. Marcotte. Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Perez. Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Shimsky.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Spreckman. Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Approved 17-0. Item 6500 from the Committee on Budget and Appropriations is an act adopting the county budget and making appropriations for the conduct of the county government for the year 2014.
Ms. Myers.
Yes, I rise as Chair of Budget and Appropriations to move that this Board of Legislators adopts the budget for 2014, the proposed operating and capital budgets that were approved through the Committee on Budget and Appropriations a short while ago. So moved.
Members on this item. Mr. Mazzano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's been a very long day. I will be 1 minute. I just wanted to say thank you to the legislators, the chair of the Budget Committee, for their terrific work on the budget. It's a very diligent month by all the members of the Budget Committee, and our Budget Chair, Legislator Myers, who's serving her final month as a county legislator. We thank you all for your great service, and the staff as well. We appreciate the hard work of the board staff on the budget. I also wanted to say that I was thankful today that the board worked all day long in a bipartisan way, in a way where we found ways to compromise and come to a consensus budget. So that's a positive sign for the taxpayers of Westchester, that their elected officials came together in a bipartisan budget, and I look forward to casting my vote in support of this budget, along with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle. And also, I'd also like to thank the administration, who we worked with all day, for stepping in and working with us also in a productive, professional, bipartisan way. It certainly was a budget that everybody had a hand in, everybody worked together on, and I believe at the end of the day we put together a very fine budget for the people of Westchester. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mazzano. Ms. Myers.
Thank you. Although I, as Chair of Budget and Appropriations, rose to make the motion that we approve this budget, I have to say that I will not be voting for this budget. Sadly, it is my last budget to be voting on. Happily, I do see some great democratic values that have been included in this budget, specifically in the area of opening up Title 20 for childcare, It's the first time in 4 years this has been done, but I truly believe we cannot continue to kick the can down the road. I don't think this is a good budget for Westchester County. I think it's a budget that we will look back at when we are seeing 20% increases in property taxes and say, gee, we should have taken a little bit at a time. We identified $2.5 million that could have been used right off the bat to either to increase childcare more, to help to lower the borrowing for pensions. We're still borrowing $42 million to pay for our pensions. We have not planned for any labor agreements this year, and we have 58 vacant positions fully funded. Having said all of that, and I have enjoyed working with everyone on this, today and yesterday were amazing days, but I cannot vote for this budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Mr. Harkam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too will be brief as the hour is early. First and foremost, I would really like to thank Chairwoman Myers. This has been an extraordinarily grueling, complex, and detail-oriented process, Madam Chair, that you have taken us on, and really every year of experience that you've had as a legislator has come out in this process, so we want to thank you. I also want to thank our budget staff, and I want to thank them by name because it's important that they know that we value their professionalism and their expertise. It's Olivia Rhodes, Ann Reesner, David Kabibo, and certainly Sally Schechter, who works with the committee on a daily basis. Want to thank all of our colleagues. As Jim said, this was a long day. For most of the day, we worked very, very well in a bipartisan fashion. We got tired. We hit a little bump in the road. It could have derailed things, and it didn't. We all held it together. We got our work done, and in a bipartisan fashion. So I really want to thank, from the Democratic side, all of the Democrats on this side of the aisle for all the particularly hard work, and you, Mr. Chair, for fostering this open process and 3 public hearings, and really all of us are to be commended on some excellent bipartisan work. This is a budget that not all of us got everything we wanted, but I think that's probably the sign of compromise. Legislator Myers listed some of the things on the Democratic side that we wanted. We also got restoration of all of the not-for-profit contracts and got some assurances on the other. So while nobody got a whole loaf, we certainly got more than a half a loaf, and I think the people who got the full loaf were the people of Westchester, based on the compromised nature of this budget. Thank you.
Other members. All right. First, I want to commend everyone, because one of the problems or challenges, if you will, in working through budget scenarios, it didn't start yesterday on the 9th. This has been something that's been worked over for the last several weeks with members from both sides of the aisle and having conversations and laying out some foundation principles to ensure that everyone's concerns were going to be heard. On whether you were at the first, second, third, or all 3 of the budget hearings, the real issue is when you're not in all the conversations. So I want to thank the members that weren't in every meeting, that were able to have some information that came from the various leaders of the respective caucuses, Mr. Harkam and Mr. Mazzano, as far as their caucuses were concerned. Certainly having the other conversations with the administration, and that included various members of the board as we went back and forth upstairs. I too would want to make sure that we thanked a staff that does so much work for us on the Board of Legislators, and it's again on both sides of the aisle. First, you have Olivia Rhodes, as Mr. Harkam mentioned, and certainly Ann Reesner, Sally Schechter, David Kabibo, but on the other side as well, Larry Goldstein works very well with our team on the Board of Legislators, and Rose Vinci as well, because all those folks go back and forth when we're working through all the various issues. I want to say to Chair Myers that this process is always daunting and challenging, and you've taken it on over the last 2 years as the budget chair and done a wonderful job in trying to ensure and make sure that we get the information, and sometimes it's challenging. But the administration, specifically Mr. Plunkett, Deputy County Executive, Kevin Plunkett, George Oros, who is our normal liaison for the Board of Legislators, the Chief of Staff, and Ned McCormick in the conversations over the last day or so have been very helpful as well. We would be remiss if we did not thank the Budget Director, Larry Soul, and his staff that worked so hard through all these kinds of times and trying to get us the numbers. Sometimes, you know, a little testy in the meetings because that's what we all do, but quite frankly, everyone looking out, trying to do the best that they can for the people of Westchester County. So every member, every side of the aisle should be proud of that part. I too would want to make sure that we reflect that we have some additional challenges ahead, specifically in trying to deal with the concerns as brought up by some of the rating agencies, and specifically with the borrowing at $42 million. We took a chip out, chose not to at this particular point in time, but it's something that we need to continue to work on. I know that going into a new term, that's certainly on the minds of many people, and trying to figure out a way to deal with that issue and making sure that we can get out of something that was clearly articulated as far as the dependence on certain smoothing mechanisms. Some people would call it borrowing, some people would not. With that said, since it's 1:35 in the morning, and I don't want us to break our last record, which was 2:15 in the morning for our budget, Madam Clerk, a long roll call vote.
Mr. Harkam.
Yes.
Mr. Mazzano. Ms. Borgia.
Yes.
Mr. Burrows. Mr. Gelfarb. Mr. Kaplowitz.
Aye.
Ms. Marcotte. Ms. Myers.
No.
Ms. Perez. Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Shimsky.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Spreckman. Mr. Testa.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Approved 16-1.
Mr. Harkam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Motion to reconsider?
Madam Clerk, second. Second by Mr. Mazzano. Madam Clerk, a long roll call, motion to reconsider.
Mr. Harkam.
No.
Mr. Mazzano. Ms. Borgia. Mr. Burrows. Mr. Gelfarb. Mr. Kaplowitz.
No.
Ms. Marcotte. Ms. Myers.
No.
Ms. Perez. Mr. Ryan.
No.
Ms. Shimsky.
Nay.
Mr. Smith.
No.
Ms. Spreckman. Mr. Testa. No. Ms. Williams.
No.
Mr. Williams.
No.
Mr. Chairman.
No.
Motion to reconsider fails, 0-17. Item 6501 from the Committee on Budget Appropriations is an act determining and fixing the amounts of county and special district taxes for the year 2014 and levying such amounts upon the real property liable.
Ms. Myers.
Yes. This is the Special Revenue District's budget for the county, and Budget and Appropriations moved this forward. So moved.
Members, without objection, we'll take the prior long roll call vote for the approval of the item. Madam, Ms. Myers.
Yes, could you count me in the affirmative for the Special Revenue District?
All right, let's take another long roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Harkam.
Yes.
Mr. Mazzano. Ms. Borgia.
Yes.
Mr. Burrows. Mr. Gelfarb. Mr. Kaplowitz.
Aye.
Ms. Marcotte. Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Perez. Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Shimsky.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Spreckman. Mr. Testa. Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Approved 17-0.
Members, before we go, what I'd like us to do.
Motion to reconsider.
Motion to reconsider, Mr. Harkam.
Yes, motion.
Second by Mr. Mazzano. Madam Clerk, motion to reconsider.
Mr. Harkam.
No.
Mr. Mazzano. Ms. Borgia.
No.
Mr. Burrows. Mr. Gelfarb. Mr. Kaplowitz.
No.
Ms. Marcotte. Ms. Myers.
No.
Ms. Perez. Mr. Ryan.
No.
Ms. Shimpsky.
Nay.
Mr. Smith.
No.
Ms. Spreckman. Mr. Testa. Ms. Williams.
No.
Mr. Williams.
No.
Mr. Chairman.
No.
Motion fails 0-17.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we go, members, what I would like us to do is make sure that we recognize all of the staff that's been here, whether it's our central staff, whether it's our clerk, our deputy clerk, our administrative staff, all of our team. We have Linda Green as well, so we have our clerks, Andrea, Tina, all those folks, and our individual staffs that have been here with us since probably 8 o'clock this morning. Thanks, Conrad, to make sure to do that and give them all a round of applause for all of their hard work. Mr. Harkam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to bring up 12 new items. At this time, I would move that we would adjourn and that we reconvene on Monday, the 16th at 7 p.m.
Short roll call vote.
Mr. Harkam.
Yes.
Mr. Mazzano. Mr. Williams. Mr. Chairman.
Yes. On the motion of Mr. Harkam, the board stands adjourned.